I watched a good man lose everything because he played fair. I watched a ruthless opportunist take it all because he understood the game. The difference between them wasn't talent, intelligence, or even luck. It was knowledge. These 8 truths separate people who win from people who lose. And once you understand them, you can't unsee how the world actually works. Here's what nobody tells you. Most people spend their entire lives believing in a version of reality that doesn't exist. They think hard work guarantees success. They think honesty is always rewarded. They think playing by the rules means the rules will protect them. These are comforting lies, and the moment you face someone who knows the truth, you lose. The first dark truth is simple but brutal. Respect without fear is just politeness. People respect you when they fear the consequences of disrespecting you. Not fear in the sense of physical violence, but fear of what crossing you will cost them. You can be the kindest person in the world, but if there are no consequences for treating you badly, people will treat you badly. Not because they're evil, but because humans test boundaries. Look at any relationship where one person has all the power and no accountability. A boss who can't be fired, a partner who knows you'll never leave, a friend who takes and never gives because you'll always forgive them. They don't respect you. They're comfortable with you. Comfort breeds contempt. The only thing that maintains respect over time is the knowledge that there are limits, and crossing those limits has real costs. This doesn't mean you need to be aggressive or threatening. It means you need boundaries with enforcement. Most people set boundaries and never enforce them, which teaches everyone that the boundaries are fake. You say, "Don't do that again," and they do it again, and nothing happens. You've just trained them that your words mean nothing. Winners set fewer boundaries, but enforce every single one. Losers set many boundaries and enforce none. The second truth: nobody cares about your effort, only your results. You can work 80 hours a week with pure intentions and perfect ethics. If the outcome is failure, people will judge you as a failure. Meanwhile, someone who worked 20 hours with questionable methods but delivered success, they're celebrated. This seems unfair until you realize the world doesn't have access to your internal experience. It only sees outcomes. Your struggle is invisible. Your intentions are invisible. Your effort is invisible. The only thing visible is whether you won or lost. This is why people who complain about how hard they worked get no sympathy. Nobody cares. The market doesn't pay for effort. It pays for value. Your boss doesn't promote effort. They promote results. Stop measuring yourself by how much you tried. Start measuring yourself by what you delivered. The third truth is about timing, and most people get this completely wrong. If you have to hurt someone, do it once and do it completely. If you're going to give someone something, give it to them slowly over time. Why? Because pain that's delivered all at once is felt intensely but briefly. Pain delivered in small doses over time is felt constantly and becomes unbearable. But rewards work in reverse. A big reward given all at once is appreciated briefly, then taken for granted. Small rewards over time feel like continuous gifts. Think about firing people. Companies that do mass layoffs once recover faster than companies that do small layoffs repeatedly. Why? Because the uncertainty and fear of repeated small cuts is worse than one big cut. Think about raises. A company that gives you a 10% raise once will get less gratitude than a company that gives you 2% raises 5 times over 2 years, even though the math is worse. Your brain adapts to constant conditions and notices changes. Winners understand this. They concentrate pain and distribute pleasure. The fourth truth: never half destroy an enemy. Either leave them completely alone or remove their ability to retaliate. The middle ground is the most dangerous place to be. When you slightly harm someone, you create a motivated enemy who still has power. They're angry, they're wounded, and they're still capable of fighting back. You've made things worse, not better. This applies to everything. Don't slightly criticize someone publicly. They'll become your enemy. Either ignore them or completely discredit them. Don't slightly compete with a business rival. They'll see you as a threat. Either stay out of their way or dominate the market. Don't slightly confront a toxic person. They'll escalate. Either maintain peace or cut them off completely. The worst position is to poke the bear without killing it. Now you have an angry bear and you're within reach. The fifth truth destroys most good people. Generosity without strategy is just self-destruction. Being generous feels good. It makes you feel like a good person. But if you're generous to everyone all the time, you end up with nothing, and nobody remembers what you gave them. They only notice when you stop giving. You've trained them to expect generosity, and when your resources run out and the generosity stops, they don't feel grateful for what you gave. They feel angry about what you're no longer giving. This is why people who help everyone end up alone and broke. They gave until they had nothing left, and the people they gave to didn't become loyal. They became entitled. The moment the giving stopped, they disappeared. Strategic generosity means giving to people who can reciprocate, giving in ways that create obligation, giving visibly. So it builds reputation. Random, invisible generosity that drains your resources is stupidity disguised as virtue. The sixth truth is about perception. What people think you are matters infinitely more than what you actually are. You can be the most competent person in the room, but if you appear incompetent, that's what people believe and act on. You can be a complete fraud, but if you appear confident and successful, people will trust you with everything. This isn't about being fake. This is about understanding that humans use shortcuts to evaluate each other because thorough evaluation is too expensive. Your appearance, your confidence, your associations. These are the signals people use to judge your value. You can be angry about how superficial this is, or you can use it. The people who win are the people who manage perception as carefully as they manage reality. Your actual skills matter, but only after people decide you're worth paying attention to. And that decision is made based on surface signals in the first 7 seconds. If you look incompetent, nobody will ever discover that you're not. The seventh truth is about promises, and this is where most people's morality gets them killed. Keep your word when it benefits you. Break it when keeping it would destroy you. This sounds terrible until you realize everyone already does this. They just lie about it. How many promises have been broken to you? How many promises have you broken? Exactly. The difference is being honest about when and why you break commitments. Circumstances change. Information changes. If you made a promise based on incomplete information, and keeping that promise will now destroy you, break the promise. The people who lose are the people who honor commitments that no longer make sense just because they said they would. Yes, breaking promises damages trust, but sometimes damaged trust is better than total destruction. Calculate the costs. Winners are flexible. Losers are rigid. The eighth and final truth. Luck exists, but only prepared people can capture it. Most people wait for perfect conditions before acting. By the time conditions are perfect, the opportunity is gone. Winners act when they have an advantage. Even if it's not a perfect advantage, they take calculated risks when they can afford to lose, not when they're desperate. Desperate moves made from weakness usually fail. Bold moves made from strength usually succeed. You need to build your dam when the river is calm, not when it's flooding. You need to make your moves when you have resources and options, not when you're out of both. The people who hesitate until they have no choice left make terrible decisions. Because they have no good options, the people who act early, when they still have flexibility, make better decisions because they have room for error. Timing isn't everything, but acting too late guarantees failure. These 8 truths aren't about being evil. They're about seeing reality without the filter of what you wish was true. You can hate these truths. You can call them cynical, but you cannot call them false. Because if you look at every person who's winning around you, they're applying these truths whether they admit it or not. And every person who's losing, they're violating at least half of them, while wondering why life is so unfair. The game has rules. You didn't make them, but you have to play by them or lose to people who do. Subscribe if you want the truth without the sugarcoating. Comment which truth hit you hardest. Next video. Why being too good is actually destroying your life.